All right, so quick one. I'll give you my very sexy headline, how I turned $1,036 into $112,496,422 in revenue in over 44 months using 4 unique acquisition frameworks. Would you guys want to know what those are? Okay, cool. Quick writer downer. Does everyone here own their own lead gen, as in you know how to generate your own leads? Everyone does? No. Okay, someone doesn't. So I'm going to give you 4 steps really quickly before I even get into this presentation, because this is, I would say, these are frameworks that you can immediately use, and with the presentation that was given just Mr. Burton about how to capture leads and whatnot, you're going to need traffic, right? And so I'm going to show you the things that we've used very, very successfully to get more traffic. But before you do that, this is something that you can do in less than 15 minutes and pretty much solve your lead gen problem. Right now you can Google, number 1, you can put it to somebody in your company, how to run a Facebook lead ad. It's probably 7 minutes. Number 2, how to connect Facebook lead ad to Google Sheets via Zapier. Number 3, give away something free and then target the audience that you want. If you don't know how to target the audience that you want, take your existing customer list, Google how to set up a Facebook lookalike audience, and then run it to that audience. That's it. Like, yeah. Google, number 1, how to run a Facebook lead ad. Google, number 2, how to connect Facebook lead ads to Google Sheets with Zapier, Z-A-P-I-E-R. Number 3, you're going to target your either local audience or whatever audience it is that you use. If it's not local, then you'll upload a customer list. If you don't know how to do that, that would be video number 4, which is how to create a lookalike audience on Facebook. And then number 5, give them something for free in exchange for their phone number. That's it. You can get leads. You're welcome. It'll take you 60 minutes. And this, by the way, is what every third-party lead gen company is doing, and they charge you 5 times more for that process. They also pay someone, and just from a belief standpoint, every single, I know all the guys in that space, the guys pushing the buttons, they train in less than 7 days with 2 hours of videos, and they're paid under 15 bucks an hour. This is not hard stuff. People just don't know how to do it. And now it's very easy, and it's all on YouTube. Cool? Because that's like the really button clicky stuff. I wasn't going to stand up here and be like, all right, connect here, and I think that would be a waste of everyone's time. So this is going to be the stuff that's going to make the return on that significantly higher. So is that cool? All right, awesome. Yeah, 112 million. That was cool. All right, so using the 4 frameworks, we were able to double down again and again. So that literally was my bank account. And over the next 44 months, we were able to spend $3.1 million in advertising, which gives us a 36-to-1 lifetime return on advertising. So I don't know what your return on advertising are, but I'm told that's pretty good. And so I'll just share the stuff that worked well for us. Okay, so that's me, co-founder. That's my beautiful wife, who's up here, being awesome and dealing with me. But that was me when I started. So Albert, you and I have very similar stories. Slept on the floor, had no idea what I was doing, went to a Facebook marketing event literally the week before my gym opened, and was like, oh, so this is how I'll get customers. And I was able to actually fill my gym up using that stuff in 2013. And so I was able to scale from 0 to 6 locations in under 3 years as a kid, off cash flow, which is pretty neat. And then I sold all of those and lost everything. And that's where my bank account was at the end, because the guy that I got into business with was indicted for fraud. And so I had that entire process, and then I had nothing again. I screenshotted it because I was like, I know I'm going to tell the story. So from there, because I still was good at running gyms, we started Gym Launch, my wife and I. We went from $0 when I took that picture to $2.4 million a month in 18 months. We ran 74% net margins on that business, very good business. Prestige Labs, we went from 0 to 1.7 in 6 months. The reason I'm telling you the speed on these is because the acquisition stuff I'm going to share with you. All right, Allen, which went from 0 to 1.4 in 6 months. This is actually my most recent acquisition. We went from 40K to 700,000 a month in 10 months. And so just so you have an idea in terms of different spaces, that's B2B licensing. This is e-commerce, direct to consumer. This is agency software. And then this one is a brick and mortar chain of childhood magical experiences. The thing is, you should see the numbers behind this thing. Anywho, so this is what we do now. Take interest in 7 to 8 multi-figure businesses and grow them to exit in 3 to 5 years. That's what we do. The reason that this presentation is so cool for me is that I don't usually get to talk about this stuff, so I'm pumped about it. But what was really cool was during that process, we've made over 1,000 success stories, like a lot of success stories, using the frameworks I'm going to show you. Create 71 millionaires and counting, so very happy about that. And so I just want to take you through the frameworks that we use to scale our companies. And this is what we do when we're scaling companies. It's the same checklist every time. This is what I look at. So this should be right for everyone who's either under $100,000 a month. This should help you establish your first reliable acquisition channel. What I said in the very beginning, that's the tactics. Google those 5 videos, you'll have lead gen. That's that. All right, but I'll show you how to do it and make way more money from it. The second is if you're over $100,000 a month, how to get your next acquisition channel profitable. So you can get your current acquisition to your next acquisition. Brian asked me to give you some really tactical shit they can use. So the 4 frameworks, my goal is not to break beliefs or tell stories or motivate anyone. I'm going to say the stuff that's like working right now. So Mentor Mind once told me, business is a game of golden BBs and not silver bullets. So today my goal is to give you as many golden BBs as possible. Very candidly, there's going to be a lot of things. You're going to think about this like a checklist. All right, you're going to have a hole here. There's a pocket of money here, pocket of money here. And I just want you to scoop up as many of the ones that make sense to you. Some of them you already have, some of you maybe not. But you'll have, by the end of this presentation, I guarantee you'll have a lot of ways to make more. So quick groundwork. This is the first thing we do. So only 2 ways to grow a business. That is it. I start from the top and then we'll break it down from there. All right, number 1 is you get more customers. Seems obvious, right? This is where everyone looks. Number 2, make customers worth more. There's no other way. That's it. Get more, make them worth more. And sometimes simplicity is the ultimate in elegance. I think Coco Chanel said that, or Aristotle. Either way, it's still cool. But since everyone here probably is trying to grow your business, that's all we're going to be talking about. So 4 frameworks. 1, get more customers. 2, make more money. Framework number 1, the math, which is going to be how to acquire customers at a profit. Who here has a marketing budget? You have a marketing budget? I will show you how to get rid of that. Shouldn't have one. Because if you can spend to acquire customers at a profit, as in they are net cash flow positive, it means I make money before I even have my credit card due, which means it eliminates A, acquisition as a bottleneck in your business, and B, if you don't have capital, like you saw in my bank account at the beginning of this thing, you can compete against anyone still if you have the skill. Like, this is real. Like, you can still crush it right now against people who have way more money because they don't know the game, right? The game that's happening under everyone's nose. So that's the math, all right? We call that client finance acquisition. Number 2 is the offer. So how to get complete strangers to raise their hands and make offers so good they'd feel stupid saying no. All right, so I'll show you how, like, kind of how I said that little ad. I'm going to break down what we do there. Number 3 is the traffic. So once you have those 2 things in place, you know what math you need to hit, you know what you're going to give them, then we got to go find traffic. All right, so I'll give you the 6 traffic sources that exist right now that everyone has access to, and my hope is that you'll probably find 2 or 3 traffic sources that are in front of you. I've got a special page for Brad in there, so you can look out for that. Your team can look out for that. Sorry, I'm going to give you guys homework. And then the 4th one is the money. Right? So the whole point here is to make money, and I'll show you exactly how we maximize back-end LTV, which informs the front end, which is why ultimately it's much more of a circle than it is steps. Does that make sense? We have the math, we make our offer, go to the traffic, we make money, which means we update our math, and around we go. All right, that's the game plan. Cool? Yeah. All right, rock and roll. So if you like childhood pictures, this is what I like to draw. So you see a lot of doodles in this presentation. This is the simple way of seeing it. So you got math, traffic, offer, bait, and then you got the money that you're reeling it in. Okay? Quite literally. So we're going to start with the math. There we go. Client finance acquisition. How to acquire customers at a profit. This is the entire process mapped out. Don't worry. I'll break down each of these steps. But this is what it is. All right? So I'm going to show you how to make money with no money. Which means if you have money, you'll be able to do far better than this. This is how you do it if you have $0 in your bank account right now. So if you have less money than your competition or feel like you need to spend, or you're spending too much to acquire customers, this is for you. This is how you do it. So quick definitions real quick. Cost to acquire a customer, because sometimes I say these quickly and I forget who I'm talking to. So cost to acquire a customer, I say CAC, all right? All costs required to acquire a new customer, advertising, payroll, media buyer, creative team software, all that stuff is cost to acquire a customer. Number 2, cost of goods sold, direct cost of fulfillment. Gross profits, the amount of money that is left over after the direct cost of fulfilling. So if you had one more customer, how much extra would you have to pay to fulfill that? Everything after that is the juice, right? Gross profit. Payback period, the time of period it takes the business to receive the gross profit necessary that it costs them to acquire the customer back, right? You put $1 in, you get a customer, tomorrow, and then it takes you 2 months before you get that cash back in your wallet to spend again. All right, those are called cash conversion cycles. I'm going to show you how we do this quickly. The more you can condense the cash conversion cycle, the faster you can grow. All right, especially if you don't have funding, which I've never had. All right, and then 30-day cash is something that, it's not that I invented it, it's just something that we track, which is the amount of gross profit that I can extract from a new customer in the first 30 days. The reason I track this so vehemently is that, like many business owners here, everyone has access to one thing, which is a credit card. And so I basically know that I have 30 days against the clock that I can spend whatever I want, and as long as I have it back plus some in 30 days, I never have to use my own money to grow. So I have all the financing I need and I can grow for free. And essentially get my customers to pay for the growth of my business. Okay, so don't worry, this is the only math equation in the entire thing. This equation is what has created everything in my life. Your 30-day cash, so this is the plain English of this. I have to generate more cash in the first 30 days of running an advertisement than it costs me to acquire 2 customers and the cost to fulfill both of them. Cost of acquiring a customer and the cost of fulfilling them times 2. If I can make more than that in the first 30 days off of 1 customer, I can grow unlimited. That's how we went from 0 to 2 million, 0 to 2 million, 0 to whatever in 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, because it really becomes operational drag, not about the acquisition. So, and it's net positive cash flow. So that entire process while you're growing, we're taking cash out every single month while we're growing. It's cool to experience. And so this allows all of us smaller players who are not VC backed to outspend everyone. Okay, so this is a quick walkthrough. I'm drilling this one in because it's really important to understand how this concept works. So you borrow $100 from a credit card to acquire 2 customers at $50 each. This is a hypothetical. 2 of those customers each spend $300 with you. So you make $600. Now you're up. But you still have to fulfill the customer. So it costs you $50 each, $100 total. At the end, you have $400 plus, you have 2 new customers, and you can continue to sell those. And you have $400 in your bank account. What this looks like visually, this is how you generate buckets of cash, yes. All right, this is what it looks like visually. I'm a big visual guy. So, 0 debt, 0 money, 0 customers, day 0. All right, from there, we take our little debt, there we go, $100, and we spend $100 in ads. We do exactly what I said in the beginning. You're gonna run your little ads, and you're gonna get your opt-ins. There we go. So they're gonna run the ads in front of eyeballs. Eyeballs are gonna get clicks, which Burton's gonna track for us, right? We're gonna get opt-ins. We're gonna schedule them. They're gonna show, and then we're gonna get sales. And there's 2 of those people. So it's visually what I just said. I'm just depicting it for you. All right. And now we have to fulfill those people. So 600 goes to 500. 500 goes to 400. 400 goes to my bank account. And after the dust settles, this is what happens. Good suspense though, right? When the dust settles, I am debt free. I have $400 in cash. And I have 2 customers that I can now sell whatever the fuck I want for free. That's the game. You can add zeros, subtract zeros, but this is what we're doing, all right? So you have to understand the math before we get into the stuff. This is when I double down. So then you double it down again, you do the whole process, boom, 800, 400 goes to fulfillment. It's literally just going black on Vegas, in Vegas again. And then that was our first round. And our second round, we doubled the amount of customers. The third round, we quadrupled the amount of customers, and around we go. If you can execute client finance acquisition until your operations break, this will therefore eliminate the need for capital as a constraint on your growth. I think this is a big deal. This is like cool. I just want to make sure I'm like tracking them. Okay, cool. So that's number 1, the math. How to acquire customers as a profit. Client finance acquisition, and there's my little arrow and my check mark. It's been a long time making sure the check marks work. Okay, the offer. How to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. That's the little wormy guy right here. Got to get the fishies to bite. Grand Slam offers. How to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. So the problem. So right now, the first one I said is, right now, if you spend too much money to acquire customers, or you have a marketing budget, or any of those types of things, that's your problem. If you don't have that problem, this might be your problem. If your ads aren't converting well, all right, clicks versus opt-ins, like you're like, I feel like we're spending, but we're not getting shit, right? Or your sales team has trouble scaling, like it's hard to ramp up new guys, they're having trouble closing, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the sales part you've already got covered, but a lot of times it's the offer. So I just actually had a consulting day yesterday. We rewrote the entire offer, and I'll give you a couple cool examples that I've done with the companies that I've worked with. So to catch fish, you need bait or an offer. The starting point of any conversation to initiate a transaction with a customer, what you are literally providing to them in exchange for their money. Usually with marketing campaigns, it's going to be the #1 driver of success. What does it do? If you do this properly, it'll allow you to sell in a vacuum, so you don't have price shopping or any of that stuff. All right, it creates a category of one and forces customers to make a values-based decision instead of a price-based decision. Layla and I sell days of our time for $100,000, and like that doesn't make any sense because there's plenty of marketing firms who do a full day for free or $1,000, but because it's incomparable, they'll do that. All right, people will pay it. So the goal is to decommoditize the offer, and if we do this properly, we'll increase our click-through rates, our CTRs, which means of the eyeballs that see it, more people decide to take one step towards us. Of the people who take a step towards us, more of them think it's interesting and decide to opt in. And then, not only that, once they're on the phone with us, because the offer is so compelling, more of them say yes. And so this is a multiplicative effect. And so the translation is more leads, more sales, higher prices. So here's 2 real life examples. So when I had my little gym, I struggled to sell a $99 a month boot camp. Right? Like I couldn't even close people on a free trial. It was sad. I switched from a $99 a month boot camp to a free 6-week challenge. And the way that we structured the offer was people would come in, they would put $600 down, they lost 20 pounds, I'd give them the money back. But 48 hours after they bought, we'd sell them $300 of supplements. 21 days after that, we'd say, hey, do you want to just win the challenge right now and stay on as a member? We'll give you the $600 back as credit towards a membership. You want to do that? We close 70 to 80% of people on that. And so if you follow the money, it was just 600, 300, 12-month contract. My cost of acquisition dropped by a tenth, and we would get 30 to 1 up front before our membership dues. So the reason I was able to open 6 gyms in 3 years as a 23-year-old who didn't know shit about fuck was because I was making so much money in the first 30 days, I could open a gym, sign a lease, and have it completely full on someone else's money before the first client showed up. And I had all the payroll staffed and paid for the next 6 weeks before the EFT kicked in. EFT is the recurring revenue in the gym. All right? And so it was simply by changing the offer. I was still using the same platforms. I was still the same salesman, right? But it was changing the offer. So many more people clicked, so many more people bought. We had so much more cash flow up front. And I'll give you 7 cool upfront offers that you guys can take home with you. Here's a different example. B2B agency. All right, so a lot of agencies that are in the lead gen world for small businesses charge like $1,500 a month. We switched that for the agencies that use our software to pay me once and then only pay me after that if someone shows up. We'll generate the lead, we'll work the lead, we'll do everything. If they show up to the appointment, then you pay us. How do you not like that, right? We went from the average agency getting 0.5 to 1 returns on their advertising to getting 11 to 1 returns before their retainer. Before they got all the recurring revenue on the back end, which means that they would make 11 to 1 in that 30-day cycle. They could keep pouring cash in until their constraints were operational and not acquisition based. All right, so these are the actual numbers of this example because I thought this would be relevant for you. So if they're spending $10,000 a month, this is before and after. It's the same amount of impressions. The response rate is what went through the roof. It was 2.5 times higher percentage of people who responded. All right. After that, you had a higher result of people who were booking. There we go. Look at the difference in appointments. Same advertising spend. Same show rates. Closing percentage 2.3x because the offer was better. So we already have a 2.5 and a 2.3 on this thing. Let's see how far we can go. And the price, we quadrupled the price. We went from $1,000 down, then $1,500 a month to pay me $4,000 today, and that's it. You never have to pay me again unless someone shows up. But that basically just meant we got the first 3 months up front. And then we still got paid 2 days later when the first person showed up. And so the difference was making $5,000 up front off your $10,000 of ad spend to $112,000 up front, and 11.2 to 1 return before the back end kicked in. Is everyone getting this? Like, this stuff happens now. Okay. So, you might think, that's so neat, but how? Excellent question. So when we're looking at offers, there's 7 things that I'm looking at. So how can I improve this offer? So whatever it is, if you're the business owners, which is why I asked you to raise your hand, you have control over this. The first thing is, what is the promotion? It's either going to be free, discount, or premium. All right. Basically, if it's not a free or a discount, it's premium. The second is the core offer, which is the main thing. It's the steak, not the sizzle, and I'll get to that. I'll explain the difference in a second. The bonuses. These are the things that are provided in addition to the main thing. Scarcity. We have X left, and I'll show you how to do these even if you don't have X left and do it morally and ethically. All right. Urgency. I'll show you how to configure the offer so it feels like it ends tomorrow, even though it may not necessarily end tomorrow, but it does in the way that you can position. I'll explain how. All right. Guarantee. I'll show you how to stack guarantees. Like, if anyone have a guarantee, I'll show you how to have multiple guarantees. Ever stacked guarantees before? Very interesting. I'll show you how. All right. And then 7 is the magic naming formula. So one of the cool things about this is that if you run this play over time, it gets tired. Like, the marketplace has seen it before. And so I'll show you how to reskin the same thing over and over and over again. And that's what allows you to get evergreen lead generation. So, free. So, quick point on this. If I'm starting with a new business, I pretty much always start with something free. And I do that because the first thing I'm going to do is always create flow. I create flow, then I monetize the flow, and then I add friction. So if you're like, man, I'm so worried about being overwhelmed with leads, I'm like, well, fuck you. All right? So, so the point is that typically free offers will convert at 5 to 10 times any other type of offer. All right, so I'll always start here and then try and use my brain to figure out how can I turn something that's free into something I can get paid for. And I'm going to give you 7 offer structures to show you how to do that. There's 19 in total. You can get the rest in my book for $10. And this is where I start every business, all right? So that's free. Second is discounts. One thing that's important to look at with discounts is that there's 4 different ways of displaying them. All right, so if you have a discount offer right now that's tired, you can redisplay the same thing in different ways. So you could say it's X percentage off. You can also flip it and say what the absolute amount is off. You can say the relative amount, so it could be like it's enough to save you your entire month's mortgage if yours B2B or B2C. Or it's enough to get a steak dinner once a week in savings, right? So it's how to display the same thing in different ways, right? And then the final way is just saying what the price is now versus what it was before. All right, so that's 4 different ways you can display a discount, and that's what will keep your promotion fresh. And then, obviously, finally is the premium offer. This is what I call straight for the jugular. This is when you're selling your $100,000 day. What's interesting about when you do premium offers, most of the time you just need to charge way more than you think you should. And then the economics behind this can get really wild, because in terms of return on ad spend, if I'm selling $100,000, $500,000, $1 million things, the other people I'm competing against usually aren't selling anything close to those types of prices. And so that's how we can get 30 to 1, 50 to 1 returns on advertising on a regular basis. Because if you looked at 36 to 1, that means half of my advertisements got me more than 36 to 1 return. Wild, right? And so it's because we use premium offers, but we layer them after. So bring them in free, and then we'll upsell them through premium stuff. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the main thing, all right? The steak. Most of the times when someone is working on an offer of some type, they've got some sort of service, it's really boring and it's not very attractive, right? And so there are 4 variables to value that we've broken down after looking at this at a lot of times and looking at a lot of offers. The first is the dream outcome, all right? So everything on the top side of this equation is stuff that people value. They want more of this. This is great. We try and increase this. The bottom side of the equation is stuff that detracts from the experience, that makes them less likely to want to buy, all right? So the time, delay, effort, and sacrifice. All right. As I've studied, as a quick aside, as I've studied bigger, more successful businesses, I noticed that in my beginner days, I focused a lot more here on promising more, trying to paint this beautiful vision of the future. When I look at Netflix and Amazon and these guys who are trying to make seamless experiences so that thoughts can become, drones delivering packages at our door, is they're trying to eliminate as much effort, sacrifice, and time as possible for their customers, and that is how they're increasing value. And so as we've shifted our businesses, we focus a lot more on this now than we did here, but just something to consider. All right, I'll give you an example of each one. If I'm trying to get Brad to give me money, I'm probably going to say, hey, Brad, let me show you how to do this marketing stuff for Lightspeed, rather than, hey, I'm going to get you a 6-pack. Why? Because for him, he values that more. And so whatever the thing is that you're selling, the audience now, for a woman, it might be different, right? But for the avatar, painting the dream outcome will increase the value, right? Making sure that once, it's to compare 2 different offers, right? B2B versus B2C. If you're comparing 2 things in the exact same market that are satisfying the same need, I'll just use weight loss as an example because everyone understands that one, then you kind of move on to the next step in the equation. The next is perceived likelihood of achievement. So if I have somebody who's a plastic surgeon and they say they can do a tummy tuck, and this is his first surgery he's ever done, you got another guy who's done 10,000 surgeries, are you willing to pay more for the guy who's done 10,000 surgeries? Same surgery. It'll actually probably take the guy who did 10,000 even less time too. Because we value the perceived likelihood of achieving our goal, right? Certainty and decreasing risk is something that we value. So if you can think about ways that you can decrease the perceived risk in the customer's minds, and I'll show you more tactics about that later, but if this is where the social proof, this is where the testimonials wall, this is where the video that you have them watch in the lobby of the lady whose life got changed, all of that stuff will literally increase the value of what you were selling without having to do anything to it. It's simply the perception of the value. Now, that's the top side of the equation. That's kind of the easy part. I'll make you a lot of money, and here's all these people who have made money too. Woo, right? The bottom side is where it gets interesting. So time delay. There's 2 components of time delay to increase the value of the product that you're selling. One is the immediate first outcome. So for example, if a girl comes to work out at the gym, I'll use weight loss, right? And she feels better the first day, she has an immediate receipt of value, right? She doesn't look better, but she feels better, right? And so you want to have some sort of first win early. But the second piece is, how long is it going to really take so-and-so to hit their goal, right? If it's going to take them a year, if I can shrink the time horizon, then I will increase the value of the product I'm selling. One of the easiest and best ways to make a product more valuable is look at what everyone else can do in a time period and cut it in half and then deliver that. It's the easiest thing in the world to sell. Speed. People love speed. All right? And so if we can shrink the time delay between when they buy and when they get, our product becomes more valuable. The next one is effort and sacrifice. So if I'm trying to sell Suzuki on losing weight, and I say you've got two options here, right? Option one is you can give up everything you love. You can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. You can be sore as hell. You have to eat separately from your family. You know what I mean? All you got to have people laugh at you. You got a risk injury. All of that stuff. Oh, and by the way, it's going to take 12 months maybe, right, for you to get to where you want to go, right? Or you can just breathe in some gas and wake up skinny. Which one is she going to pick? Right? Reality is, that's why the same outcome is $50,000 for one, and you got to arm wrestle someone for an hour to get close them for a $1,000 deal for training or a gym membership, right? It's because the same dream outcome she knows she's probably not going to show up to the gym, so her perceived likelihood of achievement is low. She knows it's going to take her fucking forever. She's going to have to give up everything she loves, right? And she's going to also have to. It's like the only thing she's going to enjoy is the fact that she feels better, and that's it. And so if you can look at these 4 variables within the context of what you are selling, you can manipulate these to make the core thing more valuable simply by changing their perception around it. So that's the main thing. That's the stake, right? That's the main stuff that we're offering. So first is we're going to try and figure out if we can do some sort of free or discount version. The second is we look at the main thing and see if there's ways that we can make the thing more valuable. Third, now notice when you have free or discount, you can give away bonuses as part of the free thing and then upsell the core thing, right, which I'll get to in a minute. But the bonuses are the things that will be provided in addition to the main thing, all right? So, for example, when I used to sell those boot camps like I was talking about earlier, I was selling $99 a month boot camp. I was just throwing everything I possibly could. I was like, I'll do your food, I'll give you massages, I'll drive you home, like whatever you want, please sign up, right? What's interesting is that if I just say, hey, you get the workouts, but if you sign up today, I'll also give you food preparation instructions, an eating out guide, grocery list, I'll give you how to eat on the weekends, how to drink alcohol and stay skinny, like all of these extra bonuses, but only if you sign up today. All of a sudden, my core offering, which is literally the same thing I was doing before, is perceived as more valuable. And this is what it looks like visually. Because you make the ask after the core offer, right, if you're selling. And then if they say no, or they say need to think about it, whatever, right, that's when you start stacking. Because when someone sits down, like the whole time, the first thing you present after you've been selling this whole period of time, that's what they anchor with. So just like there's a price anchor, there's a product anchor. And so they think in their mind, this is what he's been trying to sell me this whole time. And so they're going to anchor, okay, well, I tried to compare this price to this product. But then what I do is you stack and stack and stack and stack and stack and stack, and then all of a sudden the product, the bonuses seem like such a steal compared to the thing that I originally mentioned, that it's like, well, I'd be a fucking idiot to not say yes today. So when you can stack this stuff, it also gives you a really nice way to get around the whole discount thing. So rather than be like, well, let me talk to my manager, see if I can get you 10% off, it's like, well, how about we throw in this instead? Let me throw you this instead. Let me throw you this instead on top, right? And so that way it gives the sales guys, like our guys have a huge vault of private access client materials that they can use to close deals. And they have street value because they're listed, right? Does that make sense? So you can literally make products, put them on your site. You might sell them, might not, it doesn't matter. The point is that they're perceived as valuable. And then you can sell something for $2,000 and give them $15,000 of prizes. Would I ever upsell the bonuses? I have more bonuses. There are always more bonuses. I have lots of bonuses. Okay. So that's the sizzle, right? So the steak, and then that's the sizzle. So if I'm looking at a business, the first thing I'm looking at is the promotion. The next thing is I'm going to see how I can adjust the steak and make it more valuable. See if I can change and alter services around that would cut the time in half, decrease the effort that they have to put in, increase the likelihood that they think they're going to achieve it. And then right when they're about to make a decision, I say, oh, by the way, that's just this big. Let me tell you about all this other shit that we're going to do for you. And they're like, holy crap, I'm definitely going to sign up. Oh, by the way, I only have 2 spots left and I have 16 more appointments this week. So what do you want to do? Right? And so then we have scarcity, all right? So there's 3 ways that I've seen how to do scarcity ethically, all right? One is if you actually have a limited supply, that's awesome, right? But one of the things you can do is you can have a limited supply of bonuses. So you don't have to say I have a limited supply of the core thing. I can just have a limited supply of the bonuses that I'm giving in. And I can rewrap the bonuses in different ways, reskin them, put on a new headline or whatever to make the same thing different, which I'll show you is the 7th step of this thing, is reskinning them. so that I can pretty much always have limited bonuses that I can always provide scarcity with. Does that make sense? Yes, okay. So those are the scarcity pieces. All right. Urgency. This one is probably the one I use more than scarcity, to be candid with you. All right, because I think it's easier to run on a regular basis. So just a quick side note, the difference between scarcity and urgency is scarcity is a function of units or quantity. Urgency is a function of time. People want to kind of lop them in together, they're different. All right, so the first one, and this is probably the one that I use the most, all right, is cohort-based urgency. So it's saying, hey, we've got a new group of clients starting on Monday, you're not going to miss out, we've got a bunch of awesome killers in that group, right? It's Thursday. Right? And they're like, oh, well, I don't want to miss that group. Like, yeah, you should do it. The guys are awesome. Just get started. It just gives you this little nudge. Now, when she signs up, if she says no and comes back on Monday, I'm like, you should see the next group. It's good that you missed this group because the next one's even better. And it starts on Monday, right? And so you always have this rolling cohort that can happen, which you're probably already doing. You're just not selling it. The next kind of urgency is name-based urgency. So this is where you can reskin the same offer and say, hey, this promotion, like you should end your promotions every month and then just reskin them and then start it so that you just have this false urgency. It's not false, it's real urgency, but it's saying the New Year thing ends in, Brad's New Year special for Closure School ends January 31st. Well, guess what? We've got Closers for Lovers opening in February, which then closes February 28th. And so it's the same program, it's just the promotion is different. And the promotion can still even be the same price points. You just name it different, but that promotion is technically over, right? So you can ethically get around and use urgency and scarcity to your advantage. The promotion, the pricing, and the bonuses themselves, each of those can be exploding, which leads me to the exploding piece, which is the next one. This is, if there is a way right now where anything in your marketplace is changing, is shifting, this sells like crazy. If you can get, like, if for example, if I was saying, you know what, it's not about newsfeed ads anymore, it's all about inbox leads, right? Because DMs on social media, you're getting direct to the decision makers. And the software that we have does it for $8.33 a day and delivers 13 to 15 fresh leads in your inbox as anybody who responds back, right? But the thing is, a lot of people are going to get in on this soon, so you're going to want to sign up now so that you can get a disproportionate amount of the gains, right? So I have this exploding opportunity, this arbitrage. So if you can think of ways that you have your own product and make it into an exploding opportunity, it'll create more urgency to take action. Number 6, this is really cool. So most people either don't do guarantees or just do one, and they have really lame, boring guarantee. But most people don't do 2, all right? So I'll show you how this works. So I got this close from Jason Fladland, and it's one of my favorite closes of all time. And so when he's closing someone, if he ever has a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, love her to leave it, whatever you want to say, you say, hey, I'm not asking to say yes or no today. I'm just asking you to make an informed decision, which you can only do on the inside of the program, which basically gets them to delay the decision by buying. It's fucking awesome. And so if you ever have stuff like, every single person, if you have a 30-day love her to leave it guarantee, you can basically get people to, you can make them feel safe, get them to say no. Hey, would you be opposed to moving forward today? No, I wouldn't be opposed to moving forward today. Cool, because I'm not asking you to make a decision right now. I'm just saying, I just want you to make an informed decision, which you can only do once you start with us, right? And we can only make this kind of guarantee because we know we're so good at what we do, and we know people would say, otherwise we wouldn't be in business, right? Right, okay, cool. So let's get started. So that guarantee is fucking awesome. And so if you can do an unconditional guarantee, I would highly, highly recommend it. Here's what's cool. You can have an unconditional guarantee that's based on one timeline, and then you can have a conditional guarantee that's based on another timeline. So it's like not only that, and this is the one that you make crazy, all right? So this is when you say, hey, not only that, if you don't make 10 grand using my software in the first 30 days, in the first 60 days, I'll give you 10 grand. Because that's how I know how good it is. But you got to show up to every one of the calls that we have. You got to make sure all your payments are on time. You've got to XYZ, the things that are your activation points for your service or product, the things that you know will make someone actually successful, and then you just bake those right into your conditional guarantee. And so they're like, wait, so if I love her to leave it, and you're telling me that 60 days from now, like if I don't achieve this crazy result, if I do these 3 things, then like that's all you need me to do to buy, and there's only 2 spots left? And so when we stack these things, you can massively increase the closing percentages for the team and make the offer more compelling from a marketing perspective. Last one. Okay, magic naming formula. So how to use the same offer and rename it, reskin it over and over again. This is especially important if you're in local markets. So I'll give you an interesting one. So let's say you've got this big bundle. I was talking about the free 6-week challenge I told you about earlier, right? So let's say that's our original bundle. It's fitness and nutrition stuff, right? Then we call it the fall 6-week challenge. Then we call it our spring 28-day blueprint. Then we call it our Halloween 42-day detox. Same exact thing. It just keeps it fresh, and so that way we don't have to change the operational structure of the business, but we can constantly keep the marketing fresh, right? Okay. And that's what the magic stands for. So it's the magnet, which is make a magnetic reason, which is why I like having a reason why of some sort. It's like it's fall, it's spring, it's whatever, right? It's, you know, my kid lost a tooth. It's our 5th year anniversary, right? Which is a great one. We just started running a 5th year anniversary ad. That's why I'm running this offer. And people are like, oh, that's why he's running the offer. It's like, I ran the offer last month too, but now it's our 5th year anniversary, right? And the thing is you can be like, it's my wife's birthday, it's my birthday, it's my company's birthday. It's like 3 times a year you already got birthdays, so you can give reasons why for it, right? Like you can always, I always tell people, think like a fraternity party planner. Just like you need this much to have a party. It's like, Stu got his wisdom teeth out, Rager, right? So it's the same idea in terms of reason why. Okay, so we have our magnetic reason. We announce the avatar, so we say who we're looking for. So it's, you know, little black dress, which that would be implied. Sorry, bad example. 6-week, you know, guys, you know, lean down. I said 6-week already, and then the container would be like takedown or whatever, right? Blueprint, jumpstart, kickstart, you know, sprint, accelerator, whatever, right? The point is that we put these things together. Now you don't have to have all of them, but if you just have these on the back of your mind, you'll always be able to spin headlines very quickly and name products and offerings that will convert. Those are the 7 things that I look at when I'm trying to adjust a business's offer to make the marketing more compelling and get more clicks. Check number 2. Woo! You guys with me so far? We still good?
Yep.
All right, because I'm about to show you one of the sexiest things that I have. All right, so I can guarantee everyone here that you will get more customers from the thing that I'm going to show you. So yes, I got a couple people moved around in their chairs. Fantastic. This is our pond. We have our little wormy guy, and now we got to put it in the pond. So we got to find our ponds. Never go hungry again. This is actually the photo shop. The CEO is like, this is my never go hungry again framework. So he has this posted behind his computer, so he knows that there's always ways to get more customers. You can take a picture of this because this is like my holy grail. If I ever need more business, this is where I go. All right. So you've got paid media, you have earned media, you have owned media, you have outbound, you have affiliates and partners, and your referrals, and I'll show you the ways that we use each of these. I've done 20 million out of every single one of these boxes except for earned media. So that's actually the one that, and I'm just starting doing that now. But the other 5 or whatever, I've made over 20 million from each. So I'll tell you what we do right now that's working. And so yeah, I'm going to show you a lot of shit here. You're probably not going to just pick 1 or 2 that you actually will do. And like if you do that, then you can go to the next one. Like give yourself permission to do the next one if you just do 1 of them. Okay, so paid media. And I've got one for you in this one. Okay, so remember we have our little equation. We got to make more in the first 30 days than it costs to buy 2 customers and fulfill 2 customers. All right. So if you don't have an action, this is the action for you. Just spend $100 a day on those lead ads that I was telling you. All right. If you do this, give yourself a slush fund. There we go. Give yourself a slush fund. One of the early marketing mentors that I had told me, instead of buying all these courses and coachings and whatever, just say whatever amount of money you're willing to blow every month on advertising, and then always spend it. And that way it'll force you to do it. And the thing is you won't have your ego tied up, and you're not going to be like, fuck, I suck. It's like, well, I'm supposed to suck. I don't know what I'm doing, but you will figure it out, and I promise you, if you actually just spend, and I just recommend people start at $100 a day, and you'll start to see some traction. You'll watch some more YouTube videos, and you'll learn a lot faster than all the many things that are out there. Okay, cool. So these are the examples of paid media: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Influencer shoutouts is actually underrated. Podcast, GDN. Podcast meaning you can get you can pay the person to basically say a commercial like radio. GDN, search, radio. Branded search is a hack that I'll show you in a second that just about everyone here is losing money on. All right, it'll give you like your highest return on advertising. So this is our advanced lead generation. We've got a little magnety guy, a little promotion. Then what we do is we give them some offer to liquidate our acquisition costs, our upfront cash offer. That's how we get all that money back. We have we have upsell, downsell, and every single this is literally how every single offer that I've home run has been. Every single one of them has looked just like this, and then we feed them in a continuity. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we do over and over and over again. So I'm going to give you one cool. This is the thing that I'm most excited about. This is the stuff that I love. more than anything. I literally wrote a book just on this one topic. So these are free cash offers. So you're like, how do I make money if I'm giving something away for free? Excellent question, Brett. There we go. Limited free. This is an example. Limited free is someone comes in for XY service that you should always know more about your service than they do, and give, I don't want to say an incomplete solution, but give a solution that's not going to, I'll give you a simple example. If someone were getting a car wash, it would be like the lowest bare minimum. The car's not even going to look that much better. It will look better, but not that much better, right? Or if someone is coming in to work out at the gym, or rather, if someone's coming in to lose weight, right? I'll say, you can have access to our group and we'll give you home workouts while they're at the gym. And they're like, but, like, or you can do our super sexy, guaranteed results, double guaranteed, has all these bonuses, and it's only this for you right now, and it starts on Monday. You should definitely get into it. We'll guarantee you lose 10 pounds in the first 30 days. If you don't, we'll keep working you for another 30 days. Fair enough? Right? And so that is someone comes in for something free, we give them an inferior offer, and then we upsell them the primary offer. All right? That's what we call limited free. By the way, you also don't even have to mention the inferior offer, because half the time they don't remember, more than half the time. Second one, free with deposit. That was the thing that I mentioned earlier. If you ever have any kind of service that it requires effort on behalf of the customer to get a result, anything, that's a lot of services, right? You can market something for free and have them, like if you did therapy, if you did life coaching, or you did anything that is some sort of like the client has to do something, you have them pay for the program, and then if they get the outcome, or if they do the habits, they can get the program free or rebated or credited back to them, right, towards future services. Does that make sense? It's pretty cool. This one fucking kills. This one is awesome. I'm telling you, this one is awesome. This was made more money than any offer on this board. Because what it does is it aligns the customer with their result. When they don't have, they use the money as accountability. So your client success scores go through the roof. And it's like, well, Marjorie, if you lose 22 pounds in your first 6 weeks working with me, are you going to want to come to me for the next 40? And she's like, well, absolutely. And you're like, well, that's why we do the promotions. I'm not worried about giving you 6 weeks free if I get 6 years from it, right? But if you follow the money, from what I said earlier, she got 6 weeks free because we took the money and we credited it against her future rate, which you probably put up a little bit, and then discounted it off the money that you got. Does that make sense? There we go. 3. Okay, giveaways. Giveaways are awesome. The way you do giveaways properly, have a first place prize and a second place prize. The first place prize is your core offer. It's your biggest, sexiest, most expensive package. You do that because then everyone knows the price. And you market and you say you're going to give that one away for free, and the second place prize is an acceptable discount and absolute value. So for example, if I was giving away, God, what services? I don't know, a year of window washing, whatever, right? And it's the Ultra Platinum window washing experience, whatever. Underneath of that, let's say that was a $4,000 deal. Underneath of that, I would say second place prize gets $600 of window washes, right? You run the promotion. You wait 4 days. You give them the countdown of when the person's gonna get called. Then you announce the winner. Pick one person. Everyone else, congratulations, you won second prize, right? You can put in the thing, more than one winner may apply. You're completely compliant, all right? And by doing that, you give every single person a $600 off your $4,000 package. Neat? This works really well. You want to get leads? This works. Okay. Free with prepay. This was also one of my favorites. So if anybody here has recurring services or bundled services, if you're trying to get upfront cash, which is this guy, then you can sell, like, buy 3, get free, and you can double the price for the thing. So you're still selling 6 months up front, basically, but it's buy 3, get free, or buy 6, get 6, whatever. And that can go with products or it can go with time. It doesn't really matter. But when you do this, though, you get so much cash flow up front, you can pretty much outmarket all your competition. It's very cool. And churn on prepaid people is 1/5 of month-to-month people, FYI. Splinter free. So if you have a type of service or work that has to be done that's the same thing that has to be done multiple times. So an example would be a chiropractor or a massage therapist, somebody who does the same service over and over again. One of the best things to do is just do a splinter-free offer, which means you pull one of them off, right? Ideally, you want to pull one of them off, and like tanning is a really good example. I'll use that one. Like if I said I'm going to give you a 5-day free VIP tanning experience. Person comes in, they're super excited. We say, hey, how tan do you want to get? I'm going to show you this book of tan. I'll be like, the chocolate one. We're like, okay, well you look like vanilla. So it's going to take us a lot more than 5 days to get there. So you want to get there? Cool, then why don't we just sign you up for a membership? right? Because you can't tan 5 days in a row. You tan once in 5 days because otherwise you'll burn. Because we know more about our service than our customer does. So there's a lot of things that your customer wants, but they don't know how to get there. We can make promotions that in their mind, it's like, oh, it's like 5-day weight loss. It's like, no one loses weight in 5 days, right? But in their minds, you can then educate them so they're better consumers and then make a better, more informed buying decision. Once Kimberly understands that she's vanilla and she wants to get to chocolate and it's going to take more than 5 days, well, you're already here, and you like me because I'm smiling and being nice, she'll sign up, right? And so this offer works very, very well. You break off one piece, same thing like laser hair removal. You can't do one session of laser hair removal. You need all 6, right? There's lots of things like that you can break off 1 or 2, and they can't really do that without the other ones. And so you give the 2 for free because you know it'll bring them in. And this is one of my favorites. So for this event, for example, if I were to do Invisible Free, what Invisible Free offer is I say, hey, you can come to this event absolutely free, but you put your credit card in. At the end of the event, if you don't think it was worth $5 grand, you just let me know after the first day, and I'll send you we won't bill your card. But the upsell that you're selling right there is, or you can pay right now for $3 grand and get all the recordings, and so you have this thing that's marketed for free. The downsell is they sign up for something more expensive, right? The downsell is they sign up for something more expensive that gets them less, right? And then you say, if you don't think it's worth X, Y, and Z, then we won't bill you. But the requirements of that is that you have to show up. This works with like webinars too. Same thing. If you're worried about people showing up, this is also a great way to get people to show up, right? If you're ever doing like a pitching thing too, now they have their credit card in. There's different strategies to use this one for. Like if you wanted everyone to pitch, you could downsell everyone into just staying and offloading it, so you make the prices closer. If you want more people to pay today, make the price discrepancy bigger, add more bonuses. So if it's like $250 and $200, well then I'll wait for $250 or $200, and then I get everyone to show up, because the only way they can not get billed is by showing up, and then you have everyone's captive attention, you can pitch your ass off. All right, this is for Brad. So this is the easiest hack that everyone in the entire world can do that you probably aren't doing. Own your damn terms. So this is literally on the plane today. Lightspeed LMS, everybody else is paying for your terms. All these guys their marketing guys are doing it, and you're here, right? And so it's like, I got to say no to all these guys before I see yours. And then everybody who's got an Android, you're not even coming up, right? And so it's just like, if you just own your branded terms, the return on ad spend for branded terms is stupid. It's like 20 to 40 to 1. It's crazy. And it's so easy to set up. Google how to set up branded search terms. 10 minutes. And then you can put all these in, and guarantee you, like all you do is you send them to a landing page that just says email, opt-in, phone number. Like simple, because they're already looking for you. They're just the lowest, low-toss leads out there. But just make sure that they're seen. So it's branded search. You're just literally owning your own keywords. You say, I want to advertise for Brad Lee Lightspeed, Lightspeed LMS, Lightspeed training, Lightspeed, like all the variations of that someone might be searching. Paid media, number 1. You're like, oh fuck. Don't worry, the other ones are faster. Okay, earned media. I'll just give you a quick strategy for this. Most of you guys have lists and contacts, all right? So my recommendation from a strategy perspective is to do a quarterly push. I'll just move a little faster for you guys. So when you're doing content, like you kill it with content, right? The strategy that we see that works is just let them know what you do, not a pitch. Just hey, it's Brad Lee from Lightspeed, and this is what we do, and if you're one of those guys, awesome. Then we have all the value we give, and by the way, if you're one of those people that has this problem that we solve, you should X, Y, Z, right? So you don't lose anything from those people when you do that on a regular basis. And then this is what most people are missing, which is a quarterly push, all right? So that means once a quarter, you do a 4-day blitz on your list, and that's where you promote like fucking crazy for 4 days, and they shut it with real scarcity on an offer. And that way you can squeeze your list every quarter. And most people aren't doing this. So if I'm going to go buy a business or buy a piece of a business, I'm looking through this checklist that I'm going through right now, the offer, the client finance acquisition for the math, and then what traffic sources we're using, and I'm just checking boxes. I'm like, oh, branded search, let's get it in. Oh, let's do this, and I just keep plugging these holes, and just like that, at the end, they triple their acquisition, right? This is just a checklist. All right, next one. Owned media. This is actually very similar, same concept. This is from your followers, where you're promoting it and saying it on your podcast. Here you're saying it's your list that you own. Everything else is more or less the same. All right, the difference here is that this is email list, messenger list, SMS list, blog audience, contacts in your phone, depending on how many contacts you have on your phone. This is a really good one right now. This is Dean Jackson's 9-word email. It's still one of the best emails like ever written. It's called the 9-word email because it has 9 words in it. And it says, do you still need help getting that problem solved? That's it. You email your list that, I guarantee you will get people who respond back saying, yes, I do actually still need help solving that problem that you solved. Nothing else. Don't say, by the way, 9 words. Are you still struggling with issue? All right, outbound. Just FYI, I mean, I know you guys are more in the sales world, but we get ridiculous ROI on outbound. So we have a 20-person outbound team. My hack here is to use multiple forms. I know that the software does that too, but you get way better conversions if you contact on multiple channels. All right. From a strategy perspective, really quick, if you're starting out on this channel, I just tell everyone 100 reach outs a day. 100 a day, guaranteed, you will make more money. And I give people 6 months. I give it 6 months, like it snowballs. But I haven't yet to have somebody not kill it within 6 months if they do that. So that's just a simple strategy, and it works very, very well. These still work because I feel like people have forgotten this. I don't know why. At least in the marketing world, everyone's forgotten about it. So it's like blue ocean for us. First thing to do is to call your own leads, right? Seems obvious that sometimes people have so many leads. I talk to a lot of marketers who've never talked to their leads, just FYI. So first thing to do would be to call your own leads. Next, I spent $50,000 in like coaching and programs and stuff to like learn outbound. Didn't use any of it. I think the best thing is to just start because there's enough nuances to every niche. It's worth just like you'll figure it out, and that's what we ended up doing anyways on our own. And then yeah, give it 6 months, and then we put 10 to 20% of our, I said marketing budget, even though I didn't say, but what we currently spend on advertising, we put 10 to 20% of that towards outbound, not expecting an ROI for the first 2 months. And it took like a quarter, basically. It took like a quarter to ROI, but now it's about 20 to 1 for us in terms of return, which is really good. Okay, all right, affiliates and partners. All right, so if I'd said the ones that I've made the most money from, 1, 2, lots and lots from these. So one of the things that our goal here for this is to be a full integration. So a lot of people do like, hey, talk at my thing, or do a webinar with me, or do a podcast with me, and that stuff's great. But I mean, it's like you'll see a little blip. But I want full integration. And so what I try to figure out is who has problems that I can solve. So for example, if I were going after personal trainers, I would go after a software that caters to personal trainers. I would find out that the biggest problem that those people have is that the trainers need their first 5 clients for the software, for them to stick. Because people don't use CRMs if they don't have Cs, customers, right? Can't use a CRM if you don't have customers. And so I could say, hey, Mr. Software Guy, you've got 14,000 personal trainers, and I want to sell stuff to personal trainers. I know how to get them clients. Why don't you send them to me, and I'll solve your biggest problem of activation. And so the idea is, I want to get into their onboarding process. The reason Prestige Labs, which is our supplement company, which does more revenue than my gym company does, is because we use the distribution base and integrated the supplement stuff into the onboarding process at every gym that we work with. And so when Kimberly comes in, she buys services, but 48 hours later, we're doing a nutrition consultation, and we're selling them supplements. And so that all of the marketing spend that all my partners are spending, it flows through me. And they're happy to do it because they get paid handsomely, and I'm happy to do it because I don't have to pay for acquisition. Now, there's 2 ways that you can use this strategy that I like. One of them is what I just said, where you integrate where they're doing the promoting and selling your stuff. The other way is where you're doing the promoting and selling their stuff, where you actually become the affiliate. And if you're not sending too much money away, a lot of times it's a lot less work to just be an affiliate. You can get 40%, 50% of top line revenue that you're sending over someone for none of the work. Most businesses don't run with 50% margins. So if you can get 50% of top line and do none of the fulfillment, and you're already paying for the traffic anyways, why not? And then if that person that you're referring the business over also has that list, you can say, you know what, I'll refer all those people over, just send some people back, right? And that may sound silly, but if you do it on a regular basis, people will do it, but you have to do it first. You have to sell their thing first, and then they will return it, all right? So, can't really see it, but for Prestige Labs, we have 4,000 affiliates that are brick and mortar mom and pop shops that sell our products. Allen is a software that we use. We have 200 or 400 agencies that white label our product and then sell it on our behalf, and they make tons of money doing it, and we just make a little piece on all of it, right? And so it's, how can I find ways to make other people money, and then integrate? So these are the quick strategies, and then we'll get to the 6 ways to make more money on customers. Okay, so this is a different example that I'll share with you. So I was working with a company recently that hired me for consulting stuff, and they catered to physical therapists. And so they were like, how can we do this partner integration? And I was like, well, what do all PTs sell to every client? That who uses physical therapists as a distribution mechanism to get to customers? B2B2C. They're like, well, orthotics, braces, like recovery bands, all that stuff. I was like, right. Reach out to those companies and say, hey, give me 10 of your guys. I'll teach them how to sell your product in exchange for you just sending more of your guys for me to teach them how to sell your product. I'll also sell them my product, but I'm selling more of your shit for you. People will feed you, like tons, if you can solve this problem for them. So like, if you can, because most of you guys here know how to sell. So a lot of people don't know, their clients, they have people who don't sell their products. You can take their customers, teach them how to sell their own product better, and then they will feed people to you because you're solving their problem. We kill it with this. And primary action for anyone here who's an action taker, you can do 100 reach outs a day, or just identify the 10 biggest partners, and then spend real money to get them. Like real money. You know what I mean? Send them a TV, send them a watch, send them something they can't ignore, show up at their office. And just be like, can I please, I've got bags of money I want to throw at you, please let me just give that money to you because it's just burning a hole in my wallet. Right? And usually people will take that meeting. Also, if you send letters with like $1,000 in it in cash, people tend to return the calls. Okay, affiliates and partners. Last one, referrals, and then we'll get to LTV. So this is the golden ratio. 30% of our customers still come from referrals. Our goal as a company is to get the percentage of customers who refer to be greater than the percentage of customers who leave. If you can achieve this, you have limitless growth. It's just like the client finest acquisition of customer success. If we can get a higher percentage of customers to send us someone than to leave, our business will grow with nothing else. And so that is our golden ratio. So that's the goal with referrals. So here are some examples of stuff that we do for incentives. I'm going to give you a really sexy one right now. So obviously there's the cash one. The unlockable bonus is something that's really nifty. And so if you have a VIP service or some sort of thing that's of value, like those bonuses I was talking about, like something that's really sizzle, right? It could be a software feature. It could be a training. It could be anything that you can think of. But especially if it's something that gives status, then you say, hey, they're like, what those guys got those fancy bands. It's like, oh, those are just for people who send us other clients who don't hate their friends. You hate your friends because you haven't sent us anyone. I don't know why you hate your friends so much, right? And so when you do that, it's like a classy way of paying someone without having to pay them cash. Tickets to events, all of those types of things work really well for referrals. All right, do you know anybody who's looking to achieve X? That's probably one of the best outbound openers, by the way, because then you don't feel like you're spamming someone. And they're like, you know what, fuck my sister, I'm the one who needs to lose weight, right? And then they tell you. Okay, cash bonuses, integrated, yeah. And then I would make sure that you have this integrated in the onboarding process. I know some of this stuff, some of you guys may have heard of, but you might still not do them. Every company that I work with, they're like, yeah, right, ask for referrals. I'm like, are you? They're like, we've been meaning to. I'm like, well, why aren't you? Where is it in the process, right? Just show me where it is in the process, and then we make sure it happens every time. And then one of the biggest pieces here, and this is the last one I'll say about referrals, is from human psychology. As if I take Brad to the airport, right, and I do Brad a favor, immediately after the favor happens is when Brad feels the most positively towards me, and I actually feel as the doer of the favor like it wasn't that big of a deal. 6 months later, when we look back on that situation, I feel like I did Brad a huge favor, and Brad's like, it was nothing, he took me to the airport. And so that is why people have these weird relationships with businesses sometimes when they leave, because what have you done for me lately really sits in. And the thing is, the person who's the doer disproportionately feels like they did more than they actually did. So you have two different cognitive biases working against each other. And so, when you're doing testimonials or referrals, the moment you have the activation point, that first positive, magical moment that you probably have choreographed in your customer onboarding experience, that's when you ask. Does everyone know where like their big magical moment, their activation point of like, if someone does this, then they stay 10 months longer or whatever? Does everyone know what that is? If you don't, take your longest customers, look at what they did in their beginning, and then try and model that. I'll give you one more. Does everyone feel like there's a lot of different ways we can get customers now? Yeah. 6 different pools. Did anyone have at least one of these that you're not doing that you could immediately just pool cash out of? Okay, good. Most businesses would do very well if they just started up by picking the biggest pile of money in front of them. Most of us have these big bags of money that are sitting in front of us that we just don't pick up. And so what I end up doing for these companies, I just say like, let's start with this big pile of money and just take 10 minutes on YouTube and get graded terms up by 5 o'clock today, because it takes that long, right? And then you have lead flow. I've never had less than 20 to 40% increase in number of customers from just doing one of these things. I mean, that should cover a lot of guys' growth for this year. All right, so we got the math to how to acquire customers at a profit, the offer on how to get complete strangers to say yes, because it would be stupid if they said no because of all the things you made, where to dangle that little double guaranteed super secret double bonus 6-week whatever in front of their name, and then finally, how you become unbeatable. All right, so this is where the numbers and metrics become really cool. This is probably the part that I spent the most time on, not because it's long, but because it's sexy. So, how to become unbeatable. Make so much money per customer that you can use any channel you damn well please. Does anyone feel like it costs too much to acquire customers? One person. Anyone else feel like it costs too much to acquire customers? 2 people. Anyone else? 3 people. 4 people. 5 people. Okay. 5 people. This is for you guys. Everyone else chill. The thing is that eyeballs are never going to get cheaper than they are today. Think about it. They will literally never be cheaper than they are right now. And so if you feel like they're expensive now, then what is it going to be in 5 years? More expensive. I can guarantee you that. I will bet everything I have on the fact that Facebook will be more expensive 5 years from now. And so this is the only lever that you can pull to be unbeatable so that you can outspend everyone. That way you can use all of these channels. Because if you made $1 million a deal, you could use direct mail and still work. You use radio nationally and still work because you make so much more per customer. Right? And so as much as this is an acquisition thing, the back end informs the front end. Sometimes when I teach this, I go backwards. So let's play a quick money game. Everyone likes money games? Yes. All right. So this is the business genie exercise. This is our sample business. We get 30 new clients a month, 1 client a day. The average client stays with us for 3 months. The price per month is $100. We currently have 100 clients. We're at a point of equilibrium. That means that we're not going to grow at this rate. We're not going to shrink at this rate. We're going to stay even. We have 20% margins. We're doing $10,000 a month, which means we're taking home $2,000 a month. Sad face. This is our business. And this business genie, this beautiful icon of a business genie, business djinn, if you will, shows up and says, I can double one aspect of your business. Which one would you like it to be? It's a niche genie. So just go. All right. Option number 1, I can double the number of new clients that you sign up every month. Option number 1. Option number 2, I can double the price of your product or services. Everything else is the same in all these examples. Choice number 3, I can double the number of purchases per customer. Which do you choose? You only get one. It's a business genie. All right, so do me a favor. All right, I'll do raise hands on choice number 1. Choice number 1, this one, double number of clients. Okay. Choice number 2, double price of product and services. Okay. Number 3, double the amount of purchases everyone makes. All right, so we have a really even split, which is perfect. All right, so let me walk through some cool shit with you. So if I double the amount of clients that I have, right, that I'm coming in, then I'm going to go from 30 to 60. The math behind that means that I'm going to go, the business will double eventually, right, because the churn stays the same, it's going to double and it's going to get to 200 clients at $100 a month. So I'll make 20 grand, with 20% margins is 4 grand. So I double the amount of profit. Did everyone follow me with that? Yes. Cool. Choice number 3. If I double the amount of purchases per customer, it works out to the same thing because each customer they buy twice essentially because they're buying 2 different things from us, right? So an easier way to say this in a recurring business would be you're doubling the lifespan of the customer. They're buying twice as many times. They go from 3 months to 6 months, right? We'd be cutting churn in half. This is a different way of saying it, right? And so by doing this, this has a slight advantage over number 1. Does anyone know what it is? You don't have mics. I'll tell you what it is. The advantage of this one is that your LTV per customer is twice as high. So now I can spend more on the acquisition, right? And so the point here is I'm making twice as much profit per customer. I'm making twice as much profit in each of these scenarios from a business standpoint. I'm making the same amount of profit, but this is a better business because I'll be able to grow this one more easily. Now, for this example, I'm keeping all the variables the same, but my marketing cost would be half on this one because I can acquire the same number of customers and get them to stay twice as long. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. If you double your price, you make 6 times the profit. So let me walk you through this. If you're at $100 a month and your cost of fulfilling was 80, that's the 20% margin. We double that, we go to 200, and we're still at 80 to fulfill. So we now have 20 and the 100 in profit. So now we have 6 times the amount of profit as we did before. And no one fucking pays attention to their prices. Pricing's everything. It's the number 1 lever on how much money you make. So, is that cool? This is what we're going to talk about. This is probably my favorite subject. So, that is how important the 6 levers that I'm going to share with you are. So when I said make them worth more, it's an increase in lifetime gross profit. Now, people have heard, everyone here the term lifetime value? It's defined a million different ways. If you Google it, you'll see 6 different definitions of it. So I will define this for you. Lifetime gross profit. The purple is the juice. All right, that is the squeeze. That is what we get at the end. All right, that's the chop. That's the gross profit. It's not the chop. That would be net profit. But the gross profit is the cost of fulfillment, cost of goods sold, and then what is left over to then pay all the other shit we have, rent, all the other stuff. But it comes out of this, right? Gross profit is 50. This isn't a good business, by the way. This is just an example because it's simple. All right. So I'm going to use this as kind of the case study for all the examples I'm going to give you, and I'm going to show you every lever that I pull in a business to make way more money per customer. All right. So, in this business, the lifetime revenue is $500. Lifetime gross profit is $250. Everyone's with me? Great. All right. So, if you don't know how to calculate this in your own business, does everyone know what their number is in their business? Lifetime gross profit per customer. Yes. For everyone who didn't say yes, here's how you do it. This is the simple way, and then I'll show you one if you have a recurring-based business. This is the simplest back-of-napkin way of doing it. Take the total revenue that you've collected since you started business, literally just add up the bank statements, times your gross margin. We should already hopefully know what your margin is on the services you deliver, which is like, if you do services, for example, I pay X per hour, it takes Y hours to get the result. Y hours compared to the price is 20% of the price. Does that make sense? If I sold personal training and it was $20 an hour, and I sold it for $100, I'd have an 80% gross margin. Is that fast? Okay, thank you. So I've got the total money times the margin. And then I just divide it by the total number of customers I've ever signed up. This will underestimate it, but I'd always rather round down and then make more money. But this will be the closest estimation, because if you're like, well, we're better now than we were before. Cool, that's okay. You can always make more money. But it's better to underestimate these numbers. This is better if you have just selling products or like one-time purchases. If you have a recurring business or a business where people will buy more often, then this is the way you do it. Same top line. The only thing that's different is that you divide the bottom by total number of churned out customers. So like if 900 of my 1,000 customers have churned, then it's going to be divided by 0.9, which basically makes my LTV go up because 10% of my customers still are going to keep paying me. Does that make sense? I know that was kind of complicated. But does that kind of make sense? Feel like a kind of? All right, just go with me. Don't worry. All right, so here's why this is so important. This is probably my favorite quote of my own. The business owner that can make his clients more valuable to his business than his competition wins. All right? I even misquoted myself, but that's the idea. All right? So the idea is not, like, I'm not trying to outspend everyone. I'm trying to make this human being more valuable to me than anyone else. So that means that I'll be able to acquire him better than anyone else. And so the more I can spend in acquisition, the more channels will be opened up to me. And then the more depth of the channel I can reach. Like if I get priced out of Facebook when I spend, once I go past 300,000 in my audience because it's too expensive to reach the next part, then I get priced out. Right, so if I can spend more, then I can keep going deeper and deeper into each of the channels that I have. On top of that, I can also get more depth into the actual market, like market penetration, because I can still outspend my competition. All right? So if you can only spend $1 to acquire a customer, you'll probably never be in business. And so, but no one looks at this and they're like, my marketing doesn't work. It's probably because your business doesn't work. Right? And that's the issue. Okay, like even Facebook, which is free, makes $40 a year on everyone. Crazy, right? Haven't thought about like $2.50 a month goes to Facebook for when you log in, for selling your eyeballs. So this is what it looks like in real time. So this is, let's say this is a gym owner, even though he's got a tie and a business thing on. Let's just say it's a gym owner. So he's got Old Spice marketing to him. He's got equipment manufacturers, that's their LTV, or LTGP, excuse me. Then you've got apparel, and then you've got software, and then you've got Gym Launch, me, marketing against, right? Well, I can outspend all these guys. So this is what happens. I own all of his eyes. His eyes are mine. Because I can outspend all of them. I'll artificially raise the prices so that they can't bid on his eyes. So it's it's a legal way to create a monopoly. If I can make so much more money than the rest of my competitors, then I can own every eyeball that's in my audience. Because I'll set the CPM so high no one else can bid. I'll bid against myself to get them high. Does that make sense? That's like position to fuck you. That's what the back end does. Okay, and that's why I refer to lifetime gross profit as the arms race of business. Like if you have this, you have the biggest stick. So here's the 6 ways that I increase lifetime gross profit. Number 1, you can increase the price, which we did in our little genie example. That's just one of them. The second one is you can reduce the actual cost of fulfillment, and I'll show you some of the ways that we look at. Number 3 is you can increase the number of purchases that a customer does. Number 4 is you can upsell them, which has 2 different types of upsells. One is making something better. The other is selling more of the same thing. So one is quality, one is quantity. Downsells is the opposite of that. So it's poor quality, lower quantity, or fewer. And then 6 is cross-sells. So it's what's the adjacent need they're going to have, all right? A lot of people just kind of lop cross-sells and upsells together, and I don't like to. I think there's more nuance to them. And if you can think in nuance, you'll act in nuance. And you'll be able to think more creatively about the business. So increasing price, this one's a quick one. Look at the difference in lifetime revenue and gross profit. If I increase the price by 50%, I doubled my profit. I have this conversation with gym owners all the time. On average, we increase their recurring revenue by $38 a month. The average gym makes 12.5% net margins. The average gym is at $129 a month. So if I add $38 and they're making 12.5, I just 3.1x their profit. They're like, why do I care about 38 bucks? I'm like, I'm going to triple your fucking profit. That's why. That's why this is important. So number 1, if there's a way to increase the perceived value, that's what we do, the bait, the offer, all that stuff, is so that we can raise the price so we can make more money. Number 1, I told you this one will be quicker. They're just more visuals, but they're fast. Fast and easy. That's what my wife called me. Here we go. So number 1 is if you have people in your company that are doing like basic administrative or even semi-skilled work, you can outsource it for $4 an hour to the Philippines, and they do a great job. Just FYI. So you can probably cut down your cost of fulfillment for a lot of the services that you sell or products that you sell. And by doing that, you still increase the margin, which increases your lifetime gross profit, which allows you to make more and spend more aggressively. All right. Another one that we do is tools and software. So like Subtitle, for example, I've got this video guy that I used to pay to do all this stuff, but now we can do other stuff, right? Which is like automatically get the things captioned, get that nice like meme cover and like the progress bar. It does it, all of that with a click of a button. And so it's like, well, great. Well, then now you have all this other time to do high value stuff rather than do this kind of stuff. Design pickle, things like that. So there's software that can take a lot of the high value labor and just automate it. Technology. So if you have tech, so like our agency software, for example, makes chat responses, you know, it increases the chat efficiency of a person by about 100x. All right. And so by doing that, we make the cost of fulfilling lead nurturing 100th of what it would normally be. And so I can sell it at a reasonable rate, but it costs me pennies compared to what it costs my competitors. And so when you have this type of advantage, then I can make ridiculous profits because I'm pricing at market, but it costs me nothing. And so I have so much more room compared to everyone else. And then forecasting, if you're in a products business, buying wholesale, obviously, if you have the cash flow, we do that a lot on our supplement side just to decrease our cost of goods. All right. So this is what it looks like visually, and then that's what it looks like. So the top line didn't change, but the bottom line did. That's the difference. This still is an increase in lifetime gross profit. Checkbox number 3, increased number of purchases. Here we go. So number 1 is decreasing churn, which is AKA getting people to buy again. All right. So that is providing a better service, doing more activation, more onboarding, etc. Number 2 is increasing the quality of the product. Next was increased follow-ups for repeat purchases. All right. So most people right now don't do any of this. Like there's so many ways to reach people. So I told you like there's little pockets of cash right now in your business. This is probably a pocket of cash for you. Just like literally just waiting for you to just like, okay, increasing the follow-up. And then finally, increase client outcome to increase volume for rev share. That was for you, right? And so if I can increase the number of purchases effectively, if I have a rev share thing, then how can I increase the outcomes? How can I teach them skills that will make them more money, right? So that they will in turn pay me more money. All right, and this is what that looks like. So if I'm increasing number of purchases, I'm not increasing my margin on a relative basis, but on an absolute basis, I now have twice as much as I did before. Is everyone thinking, like, the purpose of this is so that you can think about your own services and products and think, oh, that would be an easy thing that I could do right now and just make more money, right? These are all the different ways you can increase the lifetime value of a customer. Upsells. All right, so there's 2 types of upsells. Number 1 is you can sell more of something. 1 burger goes to 2 burgers. Number 2 is you can make a better burger. You go from a small burger to a big burger, or a normal burger to an organic burger, whatever. 2 different types of upsells. So right now, if you have a core service, if you're thinking, what kind of upsells could I do? Can I sell more of it? Can I sell a better version of it? Those are easy things. A lot of times you just survey the customers, ask them what they want. All right? So when I'm thinking about upsells, number 1 is units. I can sell more web pages. If I was selling a web page service, now I can sell more types of pages, right? Number 2 would be like, if I'm selling service, I can sell it by units of time. So I've got units in terms of quantity, and I also have time. So if I'm trying to do upsell for more, I think about both of them. Right, so right now, if you have different things inside of your business, like if you're currently selling support, why don't you sell 12 months of support? Why don't you sell 24 months of support? If you're selling one site, why don't we sell a 10-tab website? It's units, right? There's always more units you can sell if you think through it properly. Next one is, survey says, more. So this is what it looks like visually. Boom. So now you'll notice, again, this is the same duration of time. They're not staying longer necessarily, but we're getting them to buy more of the same thing. That's why the margins are the same, right? I'm going to show you a different example later where the margins are different. All right? So now this is the second type of upsell, which is better. All right? So you've got, let's say, normal service, and then I could give you expert service. That's quality, right? A different version of quality, just because I like to give examples, is the enhanced burger, like I said earlier. Before that, you've got web page design, and then you've got web page design that loads really fast. Speed. Remember what I said, the value equation? These are the values. Quality, time, decrease sacrifice, decrease effort and sacrifice, decrease time, right? Those are the things that you're reversing when you're thinking about your upsells, right? Another version of this, if you have a slow burger or a fast burger, right? You can wait 20 minutes for it, you can get it in 3. It's more valuable, right? So you can upsell that. Same with service. Do you have chat support or do you have phone call support? That's an upsell, right? So that's access and convenience. And in the burger example, are you eating at home or is it getting delivered? All right, so if I'm thinking about upsells for enhancements that are better, you've got quality, you've got speed, and you've got access and convenience. So right now, can anyone think of something they should be upselling that's one of these things in your own business? Great, awesome. So, pro tip, is anyone here competing against somebody who gives their stuff away for free? Like what you sell? Sometimes it happens in software. So, if you're ever competing against a free competitor, the only thing that beats free is speed. Fast beats free. If once a year Chipotle gives away a free burrito to anyone who dresses like a burrito, and if I want to get Chipotle on Halloween, I got to wait 2 hours. If there was a line next to the free line for $10 to buy Chipotle, I would pay the $10 to not get the free burrito and wait. People pay for speed. So fast beats free. A lot of people don't think about the components of time for their offers. Okay. With better, it's the same concept. All right, but you'll notice with this upsell, I can make much more profit, right? And so, interestingly, your upsell can have a lot more profit than your core offer can, right? Which is pretty nifty. I have the numbers over here if you're seeing them in the hypotheticals. And so this is a quick pro tip for you as well. If you are doing upsells, many times you want the upsell price to be 5 times the core offer price. Here's why. Customers are fractal. They're 80-20. So it's the Pareto principle, right? And so 20% of my customers, 1 out of 5, if I want to double my revenue, I 5x the price so that 1 out of 5 buys my 5 times higher price. And so I double the revenue of my business by adding a single upsell. But I might have way higher margins on my upsell than I have on my original. So I might 2 or 3x or 4x my profit by having that upsell. Downsells. So this is an easy one that fucking no one does. There's 2 types of downsells. The people that were going to say no that then say yes. And the second is people who are going to leave but then stay. All right? And so think about all these as little golden BBs in the business. Pro tip for this is if your sales guys, for example, never sell the low cost thing because they get on the phone and they can't you have this thing, they never sell it. We buy you lunch. It's the simplest thing in the world. We say, who's buying lunch today? And so if anyone sells our low cost product, because every once in a while you get an unqualified lead, you can't buy the real thing, right? And so whoever sells the lowest ticket thing that day, the lower ticket thing, the downsell, lunch is bought in that sales guy's honor. It worked better than commissions. They were just happy to get steak or Grubhub every day, and so they just motivate them every morning to try and get lunch covered for them. So a downsell, you have a worse version, right? You have one-on-one, you can't really see it here, and then group, right? Version of whatever the thing you have is. the level of support. You might have a full suite solution, and then you could have a done with you or a do it yourself solution. So you have different levels of service that you're gonna put with it. Okay? And so let's say in this first example, someone says no, and then says yes. So they say no to the core offer, so we make no money. And now we make an extra, and here's what's really cool. The downsells, oftentimes for us, are actually higher margin. So we sell stuff that has almost 100% margins for our downsells. So even though we make less absolute money, we still usually do a pretty decent profit on it, right? And that's natural because they're going to be buying something that is lesser naturally, right? So you don't want to give something that's like equal or still cost you time and money on a downsell. All right, so the second one is instead of getting them to leave, we get them to stay. And so we say, hey, I know you were at this level support. We'll let you stay for this now. We're going to remove one thing that you don't care about. And so you probably have more than one service or feature that you offer. Remove one, and then give it to them at the lesser price. That way you can ethically say that you're not charging different rates for different people. Does that make sense? Which of these things, Catherine, do you hate that you never use? This one? Great. Knock it off. Now you can get it at this price. Because it might, especially like software, you'll get a lot better. You'll extend the LTV of the customer. Last one, cross-sells. Everyone talks about these. I'll show you a couple cool things with these that we do. Okay, what are all aspects of the customer journey immediately before and after purchasing from me? What is their next natural need? So this is the question. So if you're looking at your customer journey, what is the thing that they normally do immediately before they start doing business with you? And what is the thing that they do immediately after they start doing business with you? After they purchase. There's usually a next natural thing. There's lots of pairings that happen with sales, right? There's like, you made them make the decision to do or invest in something, right? Usually there's other stuff that comes as a result of that decision. We did the hard work of spending money to acquire the customer, getting on the phone, doing 16 follow-up calls to get them to close. Then get the rest of the fucking money around them, right? And so there's two ways to do this. Number one is you can refer the business out and receive commissions. We do this all the time. We've made millions in commissions just for sending business that we say, hey, this is our preferred partner, this is who we recommend. And just like I told you earlier, if I'm sending these guys business, they'll send business back, right? And I'll get paid on it. So I'm sending business, getting paid, and getting customers as of goodwill. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Number two is that if it's like a lot of money that you're referring away, so for example, with the gyms, we taught them how to sell supplements. I did the math in my head, and I was like, they're selling a lot of supplements. So let's build that. So we decided to build that, right? The entire business end-to-end. That's what Alberto's doing with the mortgages. He's doing the bank now because he's referring that business out. And at a certain point, you look at the math, and you're like, fuck, we should be owning that, right? We're sitting these guys. These guys are making more money on our customers than we are. If that's ever the answer, these guys are making more money on my customers than I am, then that makes sense to do business. Most times, they're not. So I might as well just take 30%, 20%, 40% commission and not have to deal with the headache, but still get all these little revenue streams, right? I'm an affiliate for like 20 different things that we just get paid for every single month because we would tell them to do it anyways. So if like Susie signs up for the gym, well, I'm going to tell her, well, A, they become affiliates of ours for the supplements because they refer the business, right? But it's like, what apparel brands? Because they're going to be like, well, what things, my hands are hard. What gloves should I use? Here's my book of all of my affiliate links. I'll buy them with you together. And just like that, we made another $200 on the customer that took no effort, right? So there are these next natural things that your customers are buying. Know what they are, and then just provide them for them ahead of time and get paid for it. So cross sells. The simple answer, simple example. Burger, do you want Coke with that? Right? It's different. It's not another burger or a better burger or a faster burger. It's a Coke, right? If I'm selling fitness, I sell fitness. Do you want supplements with that? Yes, right? Next version. If I'm selling website design, I say, hey, now that we have your website, do you want to get advertising with that? Hey, do you want premium support with that? Right? These are all next natural needs they're going to have. Do you want ads and premium support and fast cloud service hosting, whatever the tech stuff, whatever, more of that stuff, right? All of these are cross-sells that we'll use. And so if you can list out the customer needs and think about before and after, it's the easiest way to think about it, then you'll be able to capture all of this gold in front of you, all right? And so this is where a lot of the juice is squeezed. You go from, you're at 500 revenue, 250 in gross profit to 520 just by this example, right? Because you have a ton of extra margin in these. I think I have an example right here. So I don't know if you guys know this. I stole this from Digital Marketer. You can actually build an entire business off cross-sells. So if your core product doesn't have enough juice in it, you can actually mark it down below the competitors, give it away for free or at a loss, called a loss leader, and then upsell the Coke and the fries because that's where all the profit is, right? You make the better burger, you sell it at cost or below cost. And then, so you said, this is the example, you spent $1.91 to get a person to drive through, earn 18 cents in gross profit, right, on the burger, but then you make, on the $2 burger sale, but you make $1.14 on fries and Coke, right? You're making 6 times the profit on the upsell. So if you know these things about your business and you know that there's an adjacent thing that's way higher margin and easier for you, that you're usually just referring it away, well, A, make sure you're capturing it, and B, if you're not, then bring it in-house. So that was the 6. I'll do this real quick for you so you can see it, and how you make your customers more valuable and be able to use any acquisition channel you damn well please. So that is the 6 of the arms race of lifetime value. There we go, checkbox, worm guy, math, traffic, offer, money. Those are the 4 frameworks that we use to go from $1,000 to $112 million in sales in 44 months. You guys good with a quick wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So I know we covered a lot. We talked about the only ways to grow a business. There's only 2, get more customers, make them worth more, right? We talked about the 4 frameworks. We got the math, how to acquire customers at a profit, the offer, how to get complete strangers to raise their hands and give you money. Number 3, how to never run out of customers because there's unlimited different pools that you can go through. And then the money, how to become unbeatable on the back end. This is the math framework that I showed you guys earlier. Hopefully this should now make sense to you in terms of how you can actually make a profit with $0 up front on acquiring customers. The number 1 formula that has literally been the basis on which I built my acquisition life. How it works at a day-to-day basis from day to day to day as you're doing this process. The offer itself, right? The 7 components that I look at that I can kind of boost any of the offers I have, adding guarantees, recycling the naming formula, adding urgency, adding scarcity, making the core offer smaller, adding the bonuses, making sure that the core offer is solving the 4 main value drivers, seeing if I can offer free front end or discount front end so I can attract more customers. The value equation itself we can always use and think back to make your core thing more valuable. There's the visuals for those. Scarcity, urgency, guarantees, magic naming formula, the traffic. We talked about this, the 6 different new client sources. Ba-boom, if you didn't get that picture earlier. And then the make them worth more. That's the equation that we use for if you have a simple business or a recurring business, there's the equations to calculate it. And then you can always measure against that. We now know how much more powerful pricing is compared to adding more customers or getting them to buy more. Both those things are good. This is the biggest lever in your business. So I showed you 6 ways to make more money with the customer. That's the top 1. 6 ways to increase LTGP, increase price, reduce cost, increase number of purchases, upsells, downsells, cross-sells. Getting downsells, you can either get them to stay longer or just turn a no into a yes from that. All the different versions of the cross-sells that exist that you can think of, which is always the next adjacent need. And so let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you a slow question. Do you feel like you could use any of these frameworks? Yes? Do you feel like you understand how to acquire customers profitably and grow without capital? For those of you who don't have the capital to spend. Do you feel like you could create a more valuable offer that would get more conversions at higher prices now? Do you feel like you have new client sources that you have neglected and can easily use right now? Even if you use just a single piece of a single framework to get you more customers or make them worth more, would you say our time was well spent?
Yes.
Yes? Awesome. Thank you for having me.